Welcome back, y'all. It's your girl Tatianna Tarot. I am here to do a tarot energy forecast for the week, as I usually do on Sundays or Mondays, giving you the 411 on what to expect for the week ahead. I am back. Last week I took a quick break, but baby, I'm back to finish up the month. This week we are doing Monday, June 24th, all the way to Sunday, June 30th, essentially the last week of June. Also the last week to take advantage of the 20% off sale for the Energetics of Opulence mini course. It is my money mini course. It's my money mini course on abundance, wealth, self-worth, doing the inner work that is going to help you remove the programming, any subconscious blocks, and open yourself up to receive more, to feel that you are worthy of more, but really to step into a life of opulence, luxury, and ease in all the ways. And so for this whole month, I've had a 20% off sale, including a free month of Possess Your Spirit. This is the last week to take advantage of that. I've also had some freebies that I've been throwing at you guys in the form of YouTube workshops, which is the Flow of Consciousness Exercise Money Edition Part 1 and Part 2. Those two freebies will be bonuses in the Energetics of Opulence, and you will be able to catch it there along with other bonuses there as well. Definitely implore you to take advantage before it goes back to full sale, full price. And yeah, so I'm really excited. I can't believe that this is the end of the month already. If you are new to my channel, you can catch me here, as I said before, on Mondays or Sundays to find out what is going to happen for your elemental sign for the week ahead. You can watch all 4 elemental signs just for a full scope of the full energy going on, or you can watch for your sun, moon, rising. The only thing you'll need to know is whether or not you're a fire, air, water, or earth sign in those aspects. So let's get into it. What is the first sign we want to explore? What's the first elemental sign we want to explore for this week, Great Spirit? Let's start with fire. Fire sign, sun, moon, rising, Venus. For this last week of June, what is the message for fire signs? What do fire signs need to be made aware of? What do they need to know? What do they need to be clued in on? Okay, fire sign, sun, moon, rising, Venus for this last week of June. And the first card we're getting right off the bat for fire signs is the Devil. And a lot of people get intimidated when they see this card, but seldom do they take accountability or have any sort of self-reflection. When it comes to the Devil, they think it is almost some sort of external danger that's being imposed on them. A warning of sorts, and it can be definitely a warning, but I like to see the Devil as teetering and playing with temptation, maybe even on the threshold of entertaining vices and addictions. Could be addiction to work, addiction to deflection and avoidance, addiction to codependencies, addiction to validation, external validation, alcohol, partying, procrastination, self-deprecation, so many things. It doesn't have to be the common addiction factors that we hear about often in society. When the Devil comes out, it is saying that we are to do some shadow work, or there is some sort of shadow energy, meaning something that is suppressed, something that is not clear, known to the conscious mind, is lingering and is influencing us, most likely in unfavorable ways, right? It is pulling us from unity with our higher self, with our best version of ourselves, with our spirit-like selves, right? and it is pulling us away from our destiny and what we came here to do on this planet, what our purpose is, and what legacy we are meant to leave behind. So this is off the bat. Okay, we're getting the Devil. Let us see what this pertains to. The second card is the Ten of Swords. So now we have somewhat levity to this situation, because the Ten of Swords is a card of drastic endings. It is a card of what I'm getting in my mind is a sword almost drawing a line in the sand saying no more, enough is enough, or even severing off a head. I know that's very violent. It's giving Game of Thrones, but it's almost like the end is here. This will no longer persist. This will no longer be a theme or a cycle. When I see the Ten of Swords, it is a definitive no. It's a definitive end. It is a definitive completion to a cycle. In many interpretations of the tarot, the Ten of Swords can be that what I just mentioned, but on a denser scale, meaning that this completion usually comes with some sort of sadness, some sort of darkness attached to it, some sort of regret, some sort of I didn't want that to happen, but it needed to happen. I'm not necessarily getting that for this combination. I'm almost getting a sense of self-liberation and freedom. When we see the Devil tied with the Ten of Swords, it is something that has been plaguing you, perhaps a perpetual pattern, a very significant cycle that has been pulling you under the tide. And it's, get an example of Lake Lanier. I think that's how you say it, Lake Lanier. You know that really notorious lake that people just mysteriously die in, and for some reason people just want to go into this lake all the time, and it's like this lake is known to be a horror story in and of itself. Like, even if you go step aside the lake and not go inside, you end up dead. If you are on a very, what you would deem to be a safe boat on the lake, you're dead. If you're swimming, you're dead. If you walk into the lake, you're dead. If you even visit the place where the lake is at, you're dead. So it's just so many unpredictable factors that deal with this lake that has now given this lake a name, an essence. You hear it and it's like synonymous with death and mystery and like horror, and like, yeah, evidently there's some then spirits that want to claim lives there, right? So I see this imagery of something pulling you down under, but you don't know what it is, and it's like you've been struggling to come up to the top to breathe and just keep on getting sucked under. This combination of the Devil and the Ten of Swords is almost saying that there's an end to this. There's an end to this perpetual cycle where maybe you were oblivious to what has been pulling you underneath the tide, what has been sucking you in. And is it some sort of subconscious realization, subconscious acceptance, a habit, a decision, a belief that has kept you from really emerging as a powerful, sovereign, autonomous, empowered being. Something that has stopped you from really truly living your best life, even if that something is you, and chances are that something is you, you just didn't know how you were stopping you. That is now coming to a close. There's a huge, heavy chapter coming to a close here. And what I'm hearing is you are finally choosing yourself. You're finally choosing the door, which is everything that I choose, from the way I breathe, the way I talk, the friends I pick, the career I pick, the thoughts I decide, what I eat. Everything is going to be a choice that is for my highest good. I am now going to prove to myself how much I love myself, and thus be in that sort of God-like life path. You know, everything I do is in reverence and worship of myself. It's in self-respect, is in honor, it's in elevation. Everything I do is going to be a choice in which it elevates me. And so I do see this now being a new chapter emerging for you, fire signs, where you're choosing you, you're choosing the best for you. And some of that can be dense. in the sense that maybe the devil and the 10 of swords is having to put an end to a relationship, having to put an end to a certain aspect of a career, having to put an end to a certain identity, a habit, a thought pattern, a family member, a location and environment, so many things, right? So I do feel like this is almost a mourning, a time of mourning, a time of grieving, but also a time where you're like, you're finally out from being sucked and pulled into this tide. You're taking that first full breath, like, I have life. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I can live. Like, I'm free. I'm not any longer being pulled by this thing that I don't know is trying to control me or suffocate me. For a lot of you guys, this could be relationships. This could be relationships and dynamics with other people where you're starting to see the reality of why you choose certain people, why you give allowance to certain people in your life, why you grant your energy to certain people in your life. It could even be a realization of the dynamics you have in your life and how it mirrors something within you. Two of Cups is relationships. It could be platonic, it could be romantic, but ultimately any sort of relationship is trying to teach you how you relate to yourself, what you will and will not accept, and what's going on internally. You know, what am I feeding myself? How am I avoiding myself? How am I showering myself with love? So on and so forth. And so I do feel like maybe this severance, this cord that is being cut, this decision, this boundary, this end, this chapter that is at a completion, it will deal with relationships. And also that means the relationship you have to yourself is drastically changing because you are elevating, which means you hold yourself more in a superior pose. You hold yourself up to a higher standard, a higher light. That means you no longer have access, or people no longer have access to you easily as they did before, because you're raising your standards and you're upholding those standards even for yourself. So let us see here, you know, a lot of toxic relationships that are, now it's time, whether it's energetically or a soul contract, it's time to end. They will end. And some of these endings may not be an actual end. So what comes to mind also with these combination of cards is that we just had the full moon in Capricorn and also summer solstice, which is allowing more light into our lives, light bringing illumination, light bringing clarity. Full moons bringing completion, elimination of something, realization is something has to end, come to close, chapter ending. So I would be paying close attention to what is now surfacing up in terms of your emotional needs as clarity towards something that needs to end, change, transform, and alchemize, right? Ten of Swords isn't always something that is deathly and severing all ties. It could just mean the form of something energetically now needs to change into an elevated aspect, an essence, a new form. And so we're getting that. And so this would be a great week to really dive into some shadow work, whether you do that through meditation, prayer, journaling, energy work, whatever you feel that is not making you feel whole, complete. It is some sort of energetic discord that is emerging within you. This is something that needs to be explored a little bit more in depth, and analyzed and observed, and also given space to express itself, because there is information, there's valuable information there that's coming out for you, fire signs. Again, could be with a romantic relationship, could be in relation to someone that you're close friends with, a family member, a colleague, or could be even the relationship you have with yourself is drastically changing, and a habit, a pattern is now finally being alchemized for good. So I would lend space to cleansing and clearing, crying and releasing. It is also Cancer season, so our emotional bodies are going to take a toll in a lot of the releasing work that is meant to be done during this season anyway. I wouldn't necessarily say that what is being released always is like a very lethargic, heavy, dense energy, but I wouldn't avoid that either if that is the case. Take extra care, take some sea salt baths if necessary, drink tons of water, and move your physical body to allow whatever needs to surface up and be expressed and revealed to be doing so in a seamless, smooth, and holistic manner. You don't just want to mentally acknowledge what needs to change, but you also want to facilitate that change on a spiritual, emotional, and physical level. Okay, so think of the trifecta when you're clearing, cleansing, healing, and alchemizing. Air sign, sun, moon, rising, Venus for this last week of June. Great Spirit, what do air signs need to be made aware of? Air sign, sun, moon, rising, Venus for this last week of June. Okay, air signs. Air signs, we just finished with fire signs, and they also got the first same card as you, which is the Devil card. I really do feel like this week, this last week of June, or heading into Cancer season, is all about releasing the density in our bodies, releasing the shadow from our bodies. It's a purging, it's a detoxification of energies that are no longer serving us, into a season where we really thrive off of being emotionally transparent, authentic, and radically in tune with our emotional bodies, embodied, so to speak. And so when we are seeing the Devil, I would implore you air signs to watch the fire sign reading. There's going to be a lot of information in there for you. But the Devil is next to the Queen of Pentacles. And this is telling me, this deals a lot with how you feel worthy of things. So shadow energy work is going to come up on, do I feel worthy of X, Y, and Z? Do I feel worthy of this sort of income, this sort of relationship, this sort of friendship, this next level of my life? Do I feel worthy of it? What sort of subconscious sabotage is happening in my life? What are some blockages I'm experiencing around the realms of luxury, wealth, self-care, building and up-leveling my life for the future? The Queen of Pentacles is really invested in securing a prosperous future for herself, but she is still very much in tune with her emotional sensibilities. She can be deeply emotionally in tune, for lack of a better word, and yet still grounded, right? And so this is the beauty of the Queen of Pentacles, is there's a practical aspect of her, and yet there is still another sensual, sensitive, and emotional aspect of her, where she doesn't necessarily lose herself as easily as water signs do, her being an earth and kind of a water sign as the Queen of Pentacles. With the Devil, I really do feel like there may be some energies or themes coming up around how you take care of yourself, how you show up for yourself, or whether you truly feel you're ready or deserving of this new level that is surfacing in your life. Something major and is going to surface in your life. And I really do feel like it is in all major areas of your life, not just finances. It's definitely one sector. Career is definitely one sector, but romance, health, family, ancestral healing, all of these are now coming together as like emerging as a new chapter in your life, as something better or a clearer picture, something that you've wanted to attain, something that you've been working to attain. And yet the devil is coming up here almost to say, hey, who are you to have these things? Who are you to want these things? And this could be guilt, this could be shame, this could be as you're working for a better life for yourself. There could be other family members that can't necessarily have that, or don't have the privilege, or have been maybe working as hard, they haven't achieved that, or what's going on globally. There could be a numerous amount of things as to why the devil is surfacing up for you in terms of, do I feel I deserve this? Why am I worthy of this? Who's to say I'm not worthy of this, right? And is it actually possible for me to have this? In many ways, it could even be hidden enemies for you air signs, people who are maybe smiling in your face and not necessarily wishing you the best. That's not something that you can physically control, but your perception of it can change so that you have more leverage on your own emotional and spiritual body and what you're going to do around those people and those themes when they appear. I really do feel with the Queen of Pentacles, you have leverage on what's going on in your life right now regarding your shadow components. And you are able to see things from a very mature, elevated perspective. You're able to be very rational with you on one level with your emotions, even if your emotions are irrational and you feel very up and down. You can grant yourself that space to say, okay, I will give myself the space to feel what I need to feel, and I don't want to push myself to feel a certain way. I want to be able to really deeply be in these feelings and get a sense of what's really going on behind the scenes and what is the root of this. And at the same time, do something practical to release that or to be with that, whether it is the journaling, whether it is taking spiritual baths, whether it is talking to a therapist, whether it is taking tangible steps in your everyday life. The Queen of Pentacles is here to feel the feelings and also do something practical where it is going to be medicinal for them. And it is going to provide some sort of result that is beneficial for them. Here, your last card is the Nine of Pentacles, and this is what clued me into some major things coming up for you in the horizon in themes of luxury, wealth, and opulence. I would definitely advise you, air signs, that if you have the energetics of opulence, please take that again or dive into it at this time during Cancer season. Could be a lot in the emotional body as you're leveling up, as you're scaling, as you're expanding into a new life. Could be a lot in the emotional body that is still holding you back and is trying to get you to be an old identity that you no longer co-sign or align with or identify with. And these emotions sometimes just need to be heard and seen and just released in the form of energy work or written work or any sort of alchemy work that aligns with you. But it is coming up as, hey, pay attention to this. You know, you're up as you climb the ladder. There's new heights, new devils, they say, new levels, new shadows, right? And so this is not to be ignored. I mean, even though you're on the right trajectory, you're doing the right things, you will be immensely blessed. There's still work around the corner and things to sever ties with. And again, this is the season to do that, or whatever has surfaced up for you during this full moon in Capricorn, it is kind of cluing you into bigger work that has to be done internally as you reach these new levels in your life. What are we doing here? I'm trying to figure out the best way to get this lighting. Could be here, but now that's directly in my face. Let me see if I can take a step back. Okay, this is much better. Okay, this is much better for me. Ooh, okay, you're just gonna have to see me in the shadows. God bless. But that's also very metaphorically. There's something in the shadows that is now emerging into the light, and you have the tools and the resources on a very emotional, again, practical level to handle that. And whatever you choose to alchemize now with this shadow energy, it can be very lucrative for you. Whether you decide to teach about it, whether you decide to share it, whether you decide to just personally clear it out for you, whether it's an ancestral thing, whether it's a relationship thing, whatever you are navigating right now in terms of your shadow work, air signs, and however you decide to cope and deal and heal that, it will, when it is finally healed, it will yield a lot of blessings that were suppressed by its presence. So this one shadow thing has been kind of blocking a lot of the things that you have been trying to manifest. And I really feel like this combination of cards is saying you will get to the root of this, you will heal it, and it is that one little factor that has been holding you back from having this world of wonders that you've been working towards. So let's get into water signs. Water, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. Your reading for this coming week, the last week of June. Water, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. Okay, let's see. What is in the energy for you water signs this week? Starting off strong. Water signs. You Can Go Your Own Way by Fleetwood Mac is playing in the background of my head. You can go your own way. What is interesting about that is this is a week of autonomy. This is a week of independence. This is a week of choosing for yourself, of choices. Here we have the Hierophant. It does deal with higher callings, education, writing what is the norm for yourself. So what is the norm? What is the standard for everyone? What is the status quo for everyone is going to look very different for you. You may be, again, like I always say, the generational trailblazer in your lineage. You may emerge more than ever as the black sheep in your family. Or maybe you're having these epiphanies in your relationships, in your career, in your day-to-day activities, which may surface up as, why am I doing linear stuff? Why am I acting in a linear way? Who says I need to do things this way? Why not I try this or pick this for myself or do this? And I really think that these very avant-garde, rebellious, creative, ingenious type of decisions and ways of navigating in the world are going to rock the boat. It's going to rock the boat. It is going to steer people off course. if they're not doing what they need to do for themselves, and they've also been accepting the status quo. So what is important for you water signs is you focus on your own boat, and you steer the boat in the current that is most easeful for you, but is not necessarily the path that is regularly taken. I hope this makes sense. Because what I am seeing is the way that you guys have been operating your lives, water signs, has been very linearly. And I think you're going to be receiving new templates, new energetic templates, new downloads, whether it's in your sleep, whether it's just realizations while you cook, whether it's when you talk to people or what you read. It's going to be kind of like an epiphany of, why have I been doing everything this way? Who says I have to get married? Who says I have to go to school? Who says I need a degree to do this career? Who says I need to have this experience to apply for this job? Why don't I just apply for it anyway? Maybe I can teach myself this at home instead of spending 4 years in a university and all this money. Maybe I don't have to necessarily stay here. Maybe I can travel the world. Whatever it is, it's going to shake some feathers and have people being like, what's wrong with this person? Or why aren't you doing things in accordance to how things have always been done? You, water signs, are meant to be a little bit of a rebel right now, or reflect in ways in which you've been acting very small and linearly in your life, when you're meant to be timeline jumping and going from A to Z instead of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's something in your life where you've just been and Spirit is like, you can just bypass all that and get to the next level. Let's just not waste our time. And so this could be in the sector of religion, spirituality, your faith. You may be kind of testing the waters there when it comes to your family or your partners, or how you raise your family, or how the ways you see yourself in the world, in your purpose. It could be romantically, playing with the dynamics of your relationships. Maybe you want to be monogamous. Maybe you don't want to be monogamous. Maybe you want to change the way you're dating. Maybe you decide to be celibate. Whatever it is, it could be in education. Maybe you're like, I don't want to pay all this money for this. Maybe I want to go to another country where the education is cheaper. Maybe I just want to buy a bunch of books and educate myself. So on and so forth, right? Something very avant-garde, something very different, a path that is not commonly taken. I feel like this has also been emerging in your heart and soul. It's been in your heart and soul for a while. It's been a seed that needs to be fully actualized and planted. You are also been getting a lot of signs with the Page of Cups in terms of your dreams, in terms of your desires and your longings. It could even be a revolution of pleasure and the way you partake in pleasure, and the way you even like in the day-to-day, everyday, mundane things, your perspective on life and your perspective on living life and how you approach living life and how you approach your day-to-day activities could be very revolutionarily shaken and shifted in a very dynamic way that completely changes your life. I do see a lot of you water signs leading more with the heart, being more transparent, being more vulnerable. And I think this is a very valuable time that if you guys don't already, you begin to ask for miracles. You begin to ask, what's my next move? Source, elevated ancestors, what do I do next? How do I approach this? How do I solve this problem? What angle should I take? What decision should I make? I really do feel like this is going to be very beneficial for you moving into Cancer season. Moving into Cancer season is flexing your spiritual muscles and really daring to do more than what is required or what is customarily done by most people. This isn't a time to be a muggle. This is a time for you to hone in on your gifts, be it spiritual or not, and really lead with that. You are water signs, you are really emerging as spiritual leaders, as healers, as coaches, as sources of experts in your field. And I really do feel that this time for you to kind of break out of the shell and do things in a very authentic way is going to spearhead that movement. God is pushing you to the forefront for you to be seen, for you to be heard. But there's a lot of guidance in that. There's a lot of guidance for you to take. There's a lot of assistance and light assistance and holy assistance and just support in the spirit realms, in the spiritual realms for you. The more you shine your light, your expertise, the more you do things your way, the more you are rewarded. But the breadcrumbs are there, the signs are there in the form of dreams, in the form of intuition, in the form of prophecy, in the form of vulnerability, in the form of transparency, in the form of intimacy, in the form of pleasure. So anything that deals with femininity and water like elements, embrace more of that. That is going to help you stay on track with your spiritual practice, whatever form that may take. That can change very drastically too, right? There is a death that is coming up here with the last card, 10 of Swords. And it is not a literal death. It is a metaphorical death. And I really do feel like it's time to emerge from that cocoon. It is time for you to accept that you have been afraid of a lot of things. Maybe you've just been afraid of your own self. And as you emerge and take steps towards more authentic versions of you, that fear dissipates, it lessens, it becomes less intimidating. This is caring less about what people think or what people suggest you should do, and following the path of what source wants you to do or what feels good for you, your own soul. Books that deal with soul journeying, shamanic healing, water magic, working a lot with water, working with the elements, particularly of water, working with the feminine energy, the art of sensuality mini course. If you have it, retake it. If you don't have it, the link is down below. If it calls to you, really plunging into the inner waters of yourself, plunging into that intimacy on a spiritual note, but also on a creative, trailblazing note. This is going to help you shed those final snake skins that you have in the becoming of who you are. Really exciting time, very vulnerable, transparent, emotional time, but in a good way. Could be an excellent time for you water signs to get divination done by an elder, by a professional. Maybe there is even a spirit or an elder-like entity that will visit you in your dreams that gives you guidance. Or if you have that sort of energy in your ancestral lineage, do a elevation, give that spirit an offering, connect with that spirit. Also knowing that you yourself are an elder, and your higher self, your highest self, your godlike self has a lot to offer you should you just sit down in silence and connect and ask. So there's a lot of information there for you. There is a depth of who you were into who you are becoming, and that in of itself will shake some feathers. It will be things that you did not expect that need to leave or take, something else that needs to take form. And I think you will understand this. I don't think this will be so much of a grieving process as much as it is like a mature acceptance of you've played your role in my life. This is what you signed up. This is what we signed up for. Now we part ways. Maybe we'll see each other in another life or in another form or later down the road. right? So really interesting for you water signs. And let's get into earth signs. Earth signs, last but not least, your reading for the last week of June. Great Spirit wants you to know it's like everybody's almost getting the devil this week. It's so much shadow work. Okay, let's get into this earth signs. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. Great Spirit, what do earth signs need to know for this last week of June? Earth signs. First card is the Two of Swords. What are we hiding from ourselves that we need to act on, but we've been in resistance towards making that decision or action? Two of Swords is, I know I need to do it, and I don't know. I don't want to do it. I'm crossing my heart. I'm ignoring the signs. I'm in my emotional body, but I am ignoring my intuition. Sometimes this is lack of clarity. Sometimes this is, if it's not a full yes, then it's a no. Because it's not a no and it's not a yes, which means you're in confusion, which means for me, that's a no. Or not right now. You need some more time. There could be a situation or circumstance that you're being triggered on. You need more time to see things in its full light for you to make a concrete decision. So time and space is your friend right now. Intimacy with yourself is a friend right now. Try to do what you can to not be neither here or nor there, but in neutrality. And in that neutral space, pray for the clarity that you need. Pray for the truth to be revealed with the Two of Swords. This could be relationships. This could be love relationships. Okay, the lovers, right? We're getting love, 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 love. Pray for the truth to be revealed in your love dynamics. There's something that is emerging where a decision needs to be made. And maybe you already know that decision and you've just been like, I don't know. I don't want to be hasty. And it's okay. I think you can honor that space. But what I'm hearing is like, give yourself a time frame. It could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a couple of days, but ask for what needs to be revealed in that time frame to be revealed, and that the clarity that you need to emerge. But also knowing that you need to be real with yourself. So if it's not a full yes, it's probably a no or a not right now. Lovers also brings up the theme of life-changing decisions. I really do feel that although this does deal with the realm of romance, it's something that you have been avoiding in yourself, earth signs. Something that maybe could be a codependency behavior. You think you want something or someone, and it's actually something that you are avoiding to provide for yourself. Or a course of action you need to take for yourself rather than hoping someone is going to take it for you. What I'm getting is that you will get what you want. It just may not be in the form of what you expected. And the timing isn't quite right just yet. The timing is emerging. The moon isn't in this card. The moon isn't full. The moon is still being illuminated. Still growing. And then the Ten of Swords. We're getting a lot of ending this week for all signs. And again, this doesn't necessarily have to mean it is the end of a relationship, although it can be. It could be the end of something that has persisted in many relationships that you have partaken in, that is now ending with this relationship, or is ending in the relationship you have with yourself. I am no longer available for X, Y, and Z. Therefore, I will no longer entertain this factor in other people that come into my field. Ten of Swords. I do feel that there is trouble in paradise in some way. There could be discord, there could be disagreements, there's confusion, there's static. And there's static because there's a lot of miscommunication or external energies that are playing a role that don't have any sort of valuable contribution into the dynamic you have with another person. And so we almost need to let the commercials pass before we can continue to see the TV show and how it's going to end up, is what I'm getting. There's a lot of static in terms of not being on the right station, commercials playing unnecessary stuff while we wait for the show to resume. And this seems like a commercial break. In this commercial break, we need to go back to ourselves and our habits and what we're doing while we allow this commercial break to pass. And so this does kind of talk about inner work. It does talk about some sort of resistance. Are you actually resisting the relationship? Are you resisting to change in order to accommodate the relationship? Are you resisting some sort of intimacy inside of yourself where you're being challenged to build a closer relationship with yourself in some way, and you've been resisting it? This somehow plays a similar role to things you've experienced in the past. So it does kind of shine light on what's going on internally that has not been addressed, that is being repeated here in a cycle. I do feel like you're going to address it. I do feel like that cycle is emerging. I do feel like that cycle inside of you is ending. But I don't entirely think that the blame should be on the other person. It should be a self-reflection, like, what's going on that I've avoided in myself that is now being mirrored to me through my dynamic with this person. And so a lot of this reflection while the static and the commercials pass is maybe thinking about ways that you've oppressed yourself in other relationships, or you felt oppressed maybe in childhood, in your upbringing, in your adolescence. So any sort of inner child work, any sort of inner teen work, and maybe even future jumping to the future you, all these trifecta of selves, maybe even quadfecta, as the current self as well needs to speak, needs to be addressed. So inner child, adolescent, current self, future self. We do see this as kind of going back in time. And if you've had any divinations, it would be good to reflect on those divinations of the past and heed to its wisdom. There's wisdom there. There's a sense of oppression. But that's going to be... Six of Wands is coming out for you, Earth signs, and I really do feel like there is victory, there's success. You are saving yourself. I would not get too much in your head about it, as I think that the solution will emerge. The static will clear. The solution will emerge. Great Spirit, what do you have to say about this? What should they do? Earth signs, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. What a reading for Earth signs. Where are we going with this? Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. Yeah, it's a lot of heady information. This isn't a time to logically think. This is a time to be in your body and in your feelings. Hello, Cancer. But we're also getting the Chariot. So there is a breakthrough. I don't necessarily feel like this is something you need to be doing. I feel like this is something that is just the breakthrough is going to emerge within you and in the dynamic of what you're navigating right now. So love y'all deep. Okay, this has been a very new type of energy in this reading for this week. Again, it's the last week to take advantage of the energetics of opulence. I'm linking it down below. 20% off with the free month of Possess Your Spirit and membership. You also get the bonuses. I am intending to have more free workshops for you guys coming up next month real soon. So stay tuned for that. I love you deep. We'll see you next week. Bye.